We get bathroom installation businesses 20 jobs per month with £3,000 profit in each job, so £60,000 profit per month, using Perspective to filter out all tire kickers. So you only deal with qualified leads who aren't actually going to waste your time. So I'm going to actually share my screen right now and show you exactly how to do it for yourself.
So if you want to get the same results as Kurtis, head over to the link in the description below and get yourself a 30-day extended free trial. So that was 2024, right? And you started getting more and more clients. You started devising your processes, and throughout these months, up until now, up until June 2025, how much did you grow? Where did you get that from?
So what we've done with the agency within the 2024 year, it was like a roller coaster, to be honest. And I'd say some like within the agency space are somewhat similar. So within 24, we went from the agency to growing it to having like, I'd say 30K months is what we got it to very quickly. Within
All
those
right.
30K months, there was a good considerable bit of ad spend, obviously. So you can't really class within reason. You know, some people do, some people don't. We personally don't anymore. Now, after the 30K, a few refunds and all of that kind of stuff happened, and we came back to the drawing board, to be honest, and says you can't run a business where you end up giving out refunds all the time. And we invested in ourselves a lot more. We invested in ourselves to run better campaigns and started to like reach out and find better partners. And at that point, we actually found a guy called Tom, who's now a business partner. And he had
Right.
been part of like multiple different agencies, successful agencies. He had led like a team of over 30, 40 people in one of the UK's largest lead generation companies. And like
Oh,
ended
wow.
up just coming across him because of the frustrations, you know, of having to give people refunds, of not performing at the
Yeah.
level that we wanted. I got so fed up to the point of where it was just post on Facebook groups and just pray that somebody actually got back in touch. You know, somebody with common sense and someone who could help us. So, like, clearly outlined all the issues that we were facing, kind of line by line at that point, and like the kind of switch from like local service based business in our heads, the most rational way to make this happen was to go from small local businesses to towards a pay per lead model. And that's what we were trying to do at that point, pivot towards a pay per lead where we would have had specific brands within industries like Solar Genie was one of our brands. Within that kind of space, what we noticed again, and a big issue with the pay per lead space is that your profit's all baked in. Your profit's baked into actual the cost of the lead. And whenever you're doing that, like us as an agency, we're incentivized to bring down lead cost as much as possible, which typically results in a drop of quality. And then all, on the back end of that, you can have 10 companies all receiving different leads. And every single one of those 10 companies have different sales processes or backends. So we don't actually know how, if they're going to work the lead right, if they're going to not work the lead right, how it's going to be. And what we ended up coming up to with the pay per lead thing in terms of where our profits baked in on the actual ad spend was that it couldn't work at scale in the way that we had initially thought that it could have. So we took a step back from that and basically was reassessed it and we said to ourselves, right, the issues with this is that people don't like paying up front, like for any marketing or lead generation services, because they've just
Right.
been burnt that many times. That's one massive issue. The next issue is if the marketer actually cannot get results and they've sunk a lot of time, effort, or energy into this year kind of project. So that's the two things that we tried to overcome whenever we were coming back with our offers. And now, like what we try and do is three different things. So the first one is where they fund their ad spend, and we build everything out, do all the normal marketing stuff, and we just pay them or bill them per lead that comes across in that funnel. And then the next one is where they create their ad spend, but we actually get paid per deal or per job. And the likes of like
Okay.
garden rooms and stuff, we're finding that to be very, very considerable. Even in bridging finance as well, we've gotten a few of those splits where they're nice, chunky, big deals, large commissions, and people are happy with that. And then the final one, which we're exploring just on one client basis right now on bridging finance, is where we actually fund the ad spend and where we actually do a 60-40 split in their favor. So again, like we're looking for different kind of deals where it can actually get us up to the main goal for our business right now is £100,000 run rates per month and very high
Right.
profitability. So ideally, we're aiming for about 70% margin on that. Again, like there's only three guys in terms of what we do. Softwares aren't that expensive. this
Yeah.
is the truth of it. And now we're in a position where we're scaling kind of consistently, to be honest. And like we feel like we've gotten the right offer, the right people, and the right team. It's just about like fine tuning that. And like what we're finding now, it's not what we know anymore, it's who we know. And like the people that we're finding on the likes, even these calls and just having a great network, people can tell you what you need to know within 5 minutes instead of 5 hours.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do now is like just look at the levers that we can pull as much as possible and just get the best results.
Are you going more towards standardization, or are you still going more like custom per client? Like, what's your approach to deal
Yeah,
structures?
So now it's actually a mix. Thankfully, it's a mix, and like we found, you need a mix. So like we need to understand each client individually in terms of what their business is, what they actually want to do moving forward, how big do they actually want to get it in the future, and like what is their ability to actually work with leads. Because outside of that, like you'll just have the normal churn issue, where you don't understand the issues and you actually don't add the value to the business in the long term that they need. So like what we're going in now and we're doing like is coming in as a partner, as a growth partner from the very, very start. And we're identifying, where are the actual issues lying. So is it a lead generation issue? Is it a sales issue? What actually is the problem? Now, in finding out the actual problem, we can obviously diagnose the problem and provide solution to it as well. And sometimes that looks like us integrating even the likes of the appointment setting service that we have. If it's not an appointment setting service, we can also implement the likes of AI. AI is getting scary good now for everybody. So
Yeah,
that's what we're
yeah.
trying to do. Basically, we ask the guys every time now. We want as much feedback on every single lead. Like, we basically want to act like we're a fly on the wall of every conversation, because what that allows us to do is spot trends. And when we spot trends, we can implement solutions to actually fix those issues. So like on the likes of their spreadsheets, everything like that, which we provide them for every lead. We just want them to update it with as many notes as possible. Tell us what these guys are saying. If they don't have the budget, it might be as simple as just including a budget type of question, to make sure a prospect has that liquid capital available. But like that's the kind of things that we're doing in terms of like our offer, in terms of how we're scaling our agency. Where are we chasing? We're chasing like the industries with more money, is the honest truth of it.
Hmm.
Industries with either
What are
volume or
they?
high margin. How are they at the minute? It's bridging finance. Like the garden rooms is working with finance in any space. Finance and insurance is always like the markets
Hmm.
that we want to be chasing at the minute. Everybody says chase the money, and like that. That's more or less what we're doing at this point. There's a lot of companies coming through currently who have like raised capital and I want to go in this year whole growth kind of thing with us. It's been again going back to like our experiences in the past. Like he took on every customer, and that was actually our problem. Anybody with a bit of cash who wanted our services, we thought we
Right.
could fix the problems for. Whereas now, like after having all the things, all the issues that we've just talked about over the last 18 months, just like, and it has been like, it's been a trial by fire, realistically. It's allowed us to develop into a thing of like, if we come onto a call and I just genuinely don't feel confident about a prospect, their business, their offer, or what we can even do for them, I'll tell them is the honest truth of it, and I'll say like I don't think we can go elsewhere, or I'll point them. That we have now a lot of partners. I don't know why people like us, but people like us sometimes, and we'll have a lot of partners like in the agency space. Like solar's one of the markets that we hate. I just hate solar right now. Um,
Okay.
Anyone who comes to us, we just have partners who we just pass solar companies to constantly.
Right.
So like that's the kind of things that we're looking to do. And then like we want involved in industries where like the lead gens don't usually think of, is the other side to it as well. Like the less sexy industries, the less like all the stuff that people just don't think of. There's always massive amounts of money in, and that's what we're learning even from the likes of like Tune. In user's perspective, he's a good customer. He's a friend of ours, to be honest.
Yep.
He's taught us of that there. Go after the stuff like it's different, because the stuff that's
And
different is
Jude, for
actually where the cash is.
reference, is one of our guests that was also on Perspective Talk in the previous episode, funnily enough. So
That's unreal.
that's the guy you're talking about, right? Solar and
Yeah,
steroids. Yeah,
yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
Highlies, yeah, Tune, and like
Yes.
Tune. That's another one of the guys through my desperate Facebook post actually reached out, and just from day one right up till now, like we have weekly meetings with Tune, and he just comes on, and he's like a good friend now. To be honest, he is a good friend. So the relationships we've been able to develop through just to be honest, it wouldn't have happened if we had the success that I would have wanted earlier on. Um,
Right.
so it almost makes you feel like the failures have a reason in between,
Yeah.
to some regard.
Ah, that's you're on their path, right? So, and it's like the business that you're right now running. It's only been on for like 18 months, and you're at a point where we're starting to find these things like starting to systemize. Maybe not go like fully into one industry, but you're going into these few industries that you see are the cash cows, or the ones that have the most opportunity, because like people aren't tapping into them. So okay, so Curtis, it's been 18 months since you started with Lucky Growth Partners and basically grown it to how many clients right now? You said you're onboarding 3. You can onboard 3 a day, but what's your actual client number, give or take?
Like Robert would have it in around about 38 active like live clients that we're billing weekly right now. So the way that we do
38.
everything now is if 38 active clients being bit. Now what we have is like, because of what we're doing and because of local businesses, a massive issue that these guys have is the sales process. And basically, we get them too busy too quickly. So basically,
Right.
we'll give them all the leads. They'll get up to like say an 8 week
Oh,
lead time, and then they'll
yep.
say we don't have enough staff or whatever else. And like we're finding that to be a massive limiting factor for our business's growth right now, which is exactly why we're pivoting towards the likes of these here. You know, like first of all, industries that are national. Okay, so like industries like mortgages, finance, product, all of that kind of stuff is the reason we're doing that move, because we can take leads from anywhere at any scale, at any volume, and these people are typically like set up to handle larger volumes of leads. So now that we're actually like concretely confident in our ability to deliver a great quality lead and do our job right, like we now want the guys who want 1,000+ leads per month as an absolute minimum of a client. So like what I would say is that like last 18 months of our journey are going to look completely different to the next 18 months of our journey. It felt like to be honest, it was just three people, two people at one time, like just literally was a starter kit and putting it together as we went, and like really making it up as we went along. Every single morning you wake up with like a mini heart attack just thinking, oh my God, are we going to make sure the business progresses this day? And like we're finally, thank God, out of that stage to a point to where we're getting into consistently, number one, delivering results for our leads. Number two, building healthy amounts. But number three, like actually being able to strategically plan a business's growth. Like, you know yourself, the best
Right.
things come from actually proper planning in it. And like, we were never in a position of where we can actually say exactly what type of customer we wanted or exactly what type of spend they needed to have. We were at the beck and call of whoever will pay us. And like now, because of what we've been able to do in the last 18 months, it's changing, and it's changing very quickly. So I'd say like ideally, what we want to be aiming for in the next 3 years is an exit, and we want to exit for at least £15 million in terms of what we're doing in the agency space. How it looks or what it does, honestly, I don't know. Probably a lot of acquisitions of other agencies and just learning
Right.
fast and on our speed. But what I'd like to see in like 3 to 5 years, once that exit's achieved, is just look back on this video and look back on this podcast and all of that kind of stuff and see the
Right.
journey that did take. Because I'll be honest, like the last 18 months have been, even the last month, the progress you make, the monthly, daily, whatever else, it's significant compared to whenever you look back at that time period. So honestly, am I happy with the results that we've been able to get up till now? No,
Right.
no, we
No.
haven't even scratched the surface of it. Am I excited for the next 18 months, 36 months? 1,000,000%. Like, it feels like we're finally getting our flow in it. The digital space, as I said, 18 months ago, we've always had the companies, always done our own marketing, but like the digital solely space, it was new. And we've never just earned cash online. We've never grown companies just online. We've never done the VSL bit, all of that from start to finish. And now that we're actually getting our head wrapped around it and understanding and surrounded by the right people, like it's ridiculous how fast you can scale, is the honest truth of it, with the right things in place. And basically, it took us to get knocked back and kicked in the teeth, whatever way you want to call it, to actually come back and say, what we have is shit in every way. And it was at the time, it was bad onboarding, it was bad service delivery, it was bad everything. But ultimately, like what I take from that time period is it needed to happen so that we can see the gaps in even what we do now. And I'm not saying we're perfect now, because we are far from perfect. Everyone in this space, anyone in needs perfect improvement. Like realistically, what we're looking to do is just grow as fast as humanly possible. It is the honest truth of it, while staying sustainable, all of that kind of stuff. But whatever is possible, we want to do the right deals with the right people and make a lot of cash along the way with.
And that sounds like that's the proper planning that you're going for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you're describing here.
Yeah, it's literally to us. It's all about number one, like building a good business so we can actually operate like from anywhere. Like last week, we were fortunate. We're away in Marbella, having good crack with the team. Rented out a lovely
Nice.
apartment, a pool in the morning every time. But outside of that, like we want to create an enterprise value that's there for a buyer as well in the next 3 to 5 years. So like that's ultimately what we're trying to look for. Because like yes, the weekly money, the monthly money, it's all fantastic. But ultimately, like what we want to be looking at is the chunky exits as well, like along the way, and whatever form that takes, whatever we can do to make that happen as fast as possible, that's what we'd be making to happen.
So when you're looking at this next period of this 18 to 36 months, right? What are you
Mm.
actually like tactically? What are you using to make sure that you're planning right for the scale? Do you have any like project management systems? Do you have any like Figma boards you're looking at? How does it look like for you?
Yeah, we'll have the likes of the Miro boards, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like there is one saying that I'll always go by, and it's that man plans and God laughs. And I do honestly, I think that that's true as well. Like the plans in terms of where we're wanting to go, that's always our north star. But in terms of our actual achievements every single month, clients can hold things up, so Facebook can go down, pixels cannot track. There's always going to be these intermittent delays throughout that experience. So, like realistically, our core focus right now is £100,000 per month on the agency. Get that foundation in place, and from that, like you'll see it yourself very quickly in terms of what we're able to do from that foundation and from that base. It'll probably be looking at the likes of an additional call center or something similar, so we can help with lead quality and lead booking
Right.
rates, all of that kind of thing, and systemize that. As soon as we get, basically, we want to come and become a partner that people come to get the perfect quality of lead. And we can help with the sales process if needed as well, all the way to basically getting pay per sale or pay per deal agreements in place with those people and help scale the companies the right way as quickly as possible.
All right. Look, Curtis, we're at this stage of the podcast where the tradition is that we're asking some rapid fire questions. So I actually ask you reasonably short one
Yeah,
sentence question and give me a reasonably short one sentence answer. How about that?
that sounds exciting. Let's get going.
All right. So for the ads, what's
Yes.
one ad hook that you've worked on recently that's your favorite?
You know what? There's a boiler campaign. I'm sorry, this is longer than a sentence, but there's a boiler campaign. It's currently summer. It's warm. People don't
Yeah.
like boilers, so the ad team have been working on getting this boiler campaign up and running. And basically, they're telling everything through storytelling. So imagine it's winter, the boiler's broke down, the kids are freezing, and you need an emergency plumber right now to fix your boiler. That's spitting out leads for they're converting at that there rate that I told you earlier. So that's been really, really great, to be honest. All these businesses, especially boiler focused companies in the UK, they struggle in summer. And
Right.
to be able to come up with the right ads, the right hooks, the right angles to deliver those sales, to keep those guys in jobs even throughout that time, that's been exciting. And that's one that I'd probably say in the last 10 days has been nice.
All right. Amazing. Another one. What's one ad format that always outperforms the rest for yourself?
You know what? Memes and nuts
Memes.
and memes. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
for locals. Okay, very interesting.
So like
Tell me more.
more for our own client acquisition, like so it's literally just a meme, right? A little
Yep.
bit of text, and this is working in all different industries right now for us. It's working for our own client acquisition, our clients' client acquisition. That's it.
No way.
Yeah, that's converting. And like the thing that I keep on hearing, right, as soon as people come on is, "Oh my God, your ad just caught my attention."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
So then, like,
Wow.
do I take them through straight on to? I'll actually guide you through like that kind of journey very quickly. And now, one of the things, obviously, whenever you're doing things like this, is that you have to be specific on your funnels back end. So obviously, like, we'll have this here, we'll have the funny meme, all of that. Again, like the CPMs are great. We get leads for like 11 quid each for our agency, and then we take them through onto the funnel. And from the funnel, we qualify like heavily, and we're only like we're going to get even worse, to be honest with you. But like, what we're wanting to do is like if they're a local service only, we don't want to work with them. So like now what we're trying to do is expand our business into the right type of customer demographic
Right.
and towards the guys who can actually handle those leads. If it's 0 to 10, we don't want that anymore. 10 to 49 leads each week, we don't want that. So we're trying to focus on making sure we only get the guys who actually have and want the volume coming through. It's basically just straight to our funnel. And what we're trying to do now is just be more selective in terms of the companies that we're working with. We're actually going to be streamlining this year a bit more and actually make it like are you a trades business? Are you a professional services business? Anything like that? And just go into more detail on each. On the likes of the professional services businesses, there's slightly less questions. We'll ask like, how many advisors do you guys have? All of that kind of thing. If they've only got like 1 to 3 advisors, maybe not worth it.
Right.
If it's a kind of trades business and they only have 1 to 3 vans, maybe not worth it again. So we're now trying to get ourselves into a position of where only higher ticket customers work with us, and we're trying to get rid of all the smaller inquiries. Is the honest truth of it now, for ourselves at least. So food and currency, and then anything like 50 and above, if they're not willing to spend the money, we don't want to talk to them anymore. Is the truth of it. Again, same there. So our minimum spenders, like we're looking for the guys who have at least £2,000 to invest in marketing and lead generation each month.
And so for
Again,
yourself, what's the impact of having better qualification, of having tighter qualification for your own
it's just
leads?
we want the bigger guys, so we want people, number one, who actually want leads to come through like pretty quickly, and we want people who are willing to spend money on the leads. And like our offers ultimately means that we personally don't get paid as a company. We don't get paid until producing those results. But to have somebody who's willing to just say, okay, here's my card for the ad spend and commit to that straight away, that's an absolute difference for us. Like an idea today, 10 clients who we have onboarded, like in terms of added to a group chat, sent leads, everything, there was 10 over the last few weeks, just haven't went ahead. So like what that meant for us is just literally going on telling, 24 hours to reply. Otherwise the group chat gets deleted and we're moving on basically. So like again, that's because at that time the funnel was taking even less qualified people. At the time, smaller companies again, 1 to 3 vans, all of that. So like all of this here is very, very much like a learning in progress. And as we're developing, we're making quick changes towards actually fixing our own client acquisition until the point where it's consistently delivering the higher ticket guys is what we want.
So the next rapid fire question is actually about the most common mistake they see local businesses do with their own marketing.
With their own marketing, my God, there's 50 different reasons.
Biggest one.
You know, biggest one, thinking that they can do everything is the honest truth. Anyone thinking that they can do anything in any business is the biggest thing that holds them back. My own personal drawback as well. I think that you need to be self-accountable enough to understand that there's people better at anything than you, and you need to understand that you not, rather than competing with them, being arrogant towards them, any of this here, you need to just work with them.
Right.
Like again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. A person can say in 5 minutes what can save you 5 hours, and like that's the real attitude that we're having towards ourselves and in our own way, and towards like our own clients' businesses as well. Like it used to be again anyone who pays us, but now it's anybody with a good personality as well. Is kind of like added on to that. We actually have implemented a thing. I don't know if it's podcast worthy, but our company has a no prick policy now, and the no prick policy basically no prick policy.
Fair.
So the no prick policy is where if a client or a partner or anything just seems like they're either going to be too much work or just a prick in general, we don't work with them because like I'm sure you guys have it as well. Your gut is your second brain, and you do need to listen to your gut in terms of the people that you're working with and speaking to. And like your gut will tell you the right answer most times, 80-90% of the time. And like we kept on ignoring our gut. I'll give you another example. We were doing bridging loans for a guy. This is all within the last few weeks. And he took over £6,000 worth of fees that should have been ours and just disappeared after withdrawal.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So like, that's the kind of things that we're looking at. And see, if I'm completely honest, like hands up in the air, he was a prick. So we knew it beforehand.
Right.
So that at that point, it was right. We knew he was a prick. We called him a prick, and we still worked with him. And now we're out £6,000.
Nah. Costly mistake.
Good mistake though. Very, very good to be making so early on, because like a lot of these things that I'm complaining about now, I know for a fact in 18 months we will laugh at, is the honest truth of it.
And so, Kurtis, we're now moving on to the one of the last questions. It's actually going to be the last question. And that's going to be a question from the previous guests. So we actually have a tradition on this podcast that at the end of the show, you'll leave a question for the next guest about the future of marketing, not knowing who the guest is going to be.
Fantastic. I'm excited for it.
So the question from the previous guest was, in the future, where do you see the position of marketing agencies in the whole marketing ecosystem?
Truth be told, like if Facebook wants everybody out, if Facebook wants everybody just to run with AI, my honest opinion is that there's always going to be a guy in the room with more experience. So, will marketing agencies actually disappear? No, not at all. They'll become more consultancies, would probably be my thoughts on it. And rather, like what we're seeing now, even in our own marketing thing, being new to the space, like we've come on from being lead generation partners to diagnosing and fixing sales issues. So I think like the good people will actually start to scale and become growth partners, as opposed to like just a lead gen, just a marketing partner, any of that. I think like there's been too much in the industry in terms of where people have been burnt, people have been hurt, money being stolen. What people need now is like guaranteed growth. And if you're in a position now, in my opinion, to guarantee growth, and you put together the right offer for the right audience to the right people, you guarantee your own growth, is the honest truth. So I think that's where it's going to go, towards more of a consultancy position. I think like see these here marketing companies with 80 staff, 1,000 clients. I think that they will like start to dwindle, is the honest truth, because there's just too many freelancers. There's too many guys with that marketing brain who are willing just to leave your company and go and work for 30 grand instead of your 50 grand salary with your tax. You know, so that would be my opinion of it.
Thank you very much,
Sick.
Mr. Curtis Taylor of Lucky Growth Partners.
Leon, thank you so much for even having me on this show. And anybody who's watching, just get on Perspective, change your lives. Agency wise as well.
We're not
Outside
paying
of
you to
that,
do
just
this.
no, no, not paying us to do it. You know what, lads? See if you had the same issue that we had. Anyone watching this video in terms of client refunds, balling you out. You guys want solutions, right? I know your pain because I've been there. I've literally been on the end with a client here, crying my eyes out, right? You guys need solutions and you need to surround yourselves with the right people. Without June, we wouldn't have found Perspective. So people are everything. Try and find the right people. I don't care whatever position you're in right now, it can be fixed. So just start networking, start talking to the right people in the right groups. And Perspective in the community, it's one of the right groups. So anything that I can do as well to reach out, like feel free, reach out, talk to me. I can help, like in terms of any questions, or maybe even direct you to the right people who have helped me in the past as well. But that would be everything towards anyone watching this, I would say. And Leon, thank you for even bothering to have the time to talk to me on here. I really do
Absolutely.
appreciate it, mate.
My pleasure, Curtis. Thank you so much.